Hey guys, this is Jay Calder with Jay Unboxing here giving you a personal prediction for Chris Billam-Smith versus Isaac Chamberlain. And as always, this is just my personal take, of course. Yours can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. It's a pretty good fight, so I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about this one. Has some pretty close odds, which we'll be getting into as well, so love to hear all that kind of stuff down in the comments section below. A little bit of fight info here. We have CBS taking on Chamberlain, and this is actually like the third fight I've done recently with an Isaac in it, which is pretty, non-interesting, and I really shouldn't have brought it up. But anyway, there you are. This will be taking place at the Bournemouth International Center in, coincidentally enough, Bournemouth, airing live on Sky Sports with the European and Commonwealth Cruiserweight titles on the line. This is a very interesting sort of under-the-radar fight, in my opinion. While CBS is on the bigger run in general as the European and Commonwealth titleist, Chamberlain has gone 5-0 with 4 stoppages since his only defeat, which was to an eventual world titleist in Lawrence Okolie. So neither guy is a slouch, and both are performing well as of late. And both are big, solid bastards for 200 pounds, so it should be a physical fight as well if it really gets going. There's a lot on the line. There's some big stakes here, with the winner kind of moving on to the world title scene, so it's really a big fight for both of them and should be fun as a result. So without much more ado, let's break this one down. Starting with CBS here, for Chris Billam-Smith to win, I think you want to make sure not to forget the jab. It's going to be vitally important. Chamberlain might be known perhaps as more of the boxer of the two of them, but that doesn't mean you abandon your fundamentals. Billam-Smith is going to have to get that jab going just steady enough that it allows for him to get inside, for him to start doing some more of the work that he's looking to do. If he's just trying to run in head first every single time, it's going to lead to some negative traits coming out. He'll square up too much. He'll be caught off guard too much, get countered too much. If he can get the jab going consistently, it offsets Chamberlain's rhythm, pushes him back, allows for CBS to get inside a bit more and start doing the work he's looking to do in this fight. And I sort of alluded to it there, but don't square yourself up. That's another key here that I think is going to be vitally important. Chamberlain isn't a gigantic puncher, but he's not feather-fisted either, and he's 200 pounds. Anytime a 200-pound dude punches you, it's not going to feel great, especially if you're not in sort of a body stance that's going to allow for you to take some of the sting off that shot or not take it so flush. When you square up, obviously, you put yourself in the worst position for that, especially because CBS has at times done this against opponents who can be a little more crafty. He wants to make sure that he's making himself a little bit less of a target, and of course just working behind a jab to get inside, as I mentioned. If he can ensure he doesn't, again, square up too much, I think he'll have his best chance for success. And I've certainly alluded to this final key here for CBS, but he needs to get inside. That's something that needs to happen. I think if the fight's on the outside, Chamberlain just has a little bit of, just the way he uses his reach is going to be a little bit better, the way he uses his movements a little bit better, and quite frankly, it doesn't put Chamberlain in the toughest spots for him. He's not a particularly great inside fighter, so why would you want to fight him on the outside? Whereas if you're Billam-Smith, that's what your wheelhouse is. You're looking to get inside, dig some shots to the body, make it rough, make it aggressive, throw those big shots, and then kind of get inside and finish them off. In order to do that, of course, you need to sort of bridge that gap, which is what I think he'll need to do on the night to win this fight. Now, for Chamberlain to win, I think you want to keep a busy jab as well. I think that's a key for both of these fighters because jabs are effectively the key that get you through the doorway to your game plan. Almost in every single situation. There's not one you're going to find where abandoning a jab is going to help you out most of the time. And so that'll be equally important for Chamberlain. He needs to keep his jab busy, double it at times, perhaps triple it. As he can get some movement going this way, he can get some side-to-side action taking place, and as long as he keeps an active jab, this will give him his best chance to keep the perhaps more physically aggressive CBS off him, which of course neutralizes a lot of what he's trying to do. Of course, that's what Chamberlain's looking to do. I would also say land the left to the body. He can whip that left hook around the guard, around the elbows really well from the outside and really put himself in decent position to not get countered too much as a result of it. He doesn't do it from too far out. He does it from a relatively safe zone. Of course, there's always running the risk when you throw to the body of being countered upstairs, but not for nothing, he can throw a pretty decent one. So that's a shot he's going to want to get going in this fight. It also does a couple of things for him. Number one, opens up more shots upstairs, and why wouldn't you want that? But also, it takes some of the perhaps more powerful shots away from CBS, who's going to have to deal with being hit to the breadbasket so often. So this is certainly a shot Chamberlain's going to want to look to implement in this contest. And I would also say, and perhaps this should have been the first key to some degree, but get his attention early. This, I think, does miles and miles of good work for Chamberlain if he can kind of make CBS think before coming in. And one of the ways to do that is in that first, second, third round, he lands something with enough pop in it that it makes Billam-Smith have to think before he acts. And that's really the only way you can do that. Yes, you can frustrate him and try to fluster him early on with some movement and, just kind of your generalship in general, but you're ultimately going to have to get his respect. And if you can do that early and do it at least every so often to kind of remind him that you have that sort of power, I think that's going to do wonders for Chamberlain. Now, in terms of my pick here, while I give Chamberlain a legitimate shot in this fight, I think Billam-Smith edges out a tough fight. The biggest issue for Chamberlain may be his lack of real explosive or thudding power. It's not as though he needs to knock out his man or that he's completely pillow-fisted, but he will need to have enough pop to keep CBS from trying to come forward all night. And I feel that CBS can take the shots well enough, he can come inside, and he's going to land both that jab and even that lead right hand to get him there, and I think that will be where he starts to do his real work, because I do not think that Isaac has quite enough pop to keep Billam-Smith off. Of course, I feel Chamberlain has the best chance that the fight stays outside, but I think more than not that physical nature will allow for more of a sort of close quarters encounter where Chamberlain isn't always that effective, certainly not as effective as he can be from the outside. The winner of this fight is the man that imposes his style most. Like every other damn fight, obviously. So it's simple. If Billam-Smith gets inside most often, it's his fight, and if it's on the outside, Chamberlain likely takes it. I think CBS bullies inside most consistently and gets enough work done to take the win. Chris Billam-Smith via relatively close unanimous decision. And the betting odds for this fight are pretty close as well, which is why I have that sort of kind of split the difference approach to what I was looking at in terms of the breakdown there. You have Billam-Smith coming in as a minus 185 favorite, with Chamberlain coming in at a plus 145. So pretty close odds. In today's boxing landscape, that's damn near next to a pick'em fight. It really is pretty close. I think there's decent value in both, too. I mean, I feel fairly confident that Billam-Smith wins this fight. I also think he might be perhaps the bigger name, so perhaps he gets the benefit of the doubt in a close fight, and as a result of that, I'd feel confident putting down personally something like a small to mid-sized bet that I'm, prepared to see come back in this particular case. I don't expect him to lose necessarily. I'm probably jinxing the hell out of him now, but in any event, that's a reasonable bet for me. If you happen to be someone that's more in line with Chamberlain victory here, of course, you have some pretty decent odds as well. Again, I wouldn't put a large bet on it because of some of the reasons I mentioned earlier, and it's not as though you're getting 3 or 4 to 1 odds, but you're getting some reasonable ones for sure, so it's certainly something you could look into if that's more where you see the fight head. And in any event, my prediction record is 23 correct with 8 wrong, no ties with 7 exact. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Again, pretty close fights. I'd like to hear how you're approaching those odds as well as just your overall pick. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.